You're watching this right now because something inside you knows. There's a readiness in your soul that you might not even be able to name yet, but it's there. It's been calling to you, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in shouts, and you've arrived at this moment not by accident, but by divine appointment. The universe doesn't make mistakes. When you're ready to hear something, it appears. When you're ready to grow, the teacher arrives. When you're ready to change, the circumstance is alive. And you're here now because you're ready for something bigger than you've been living. Let me tell you something that will change everything if you let it sink in. You are not separate from God. You are not disconnected from the source of all creation. You are an expression of the divine, a piece of the infinite. And everything you've been searching for outside of yourself has been inside of you all along. The power that creates worlds lives in you. The same intelligence that grows a baby from 2 cells, that turns an acorn into an oak tree, that keeps planets spinning in perfect harmony, that same intelligence is breathing you right now. But here's what happens. We forget. We get so caught up in the world of form, in the material reality, and what we can see and touch and measure, that we forget who we really are. We start believing we're just these bodies, just these limited beings, struggling through life, trying to survive, trying to get ahead, trying to be happy. And when we live from that place of forgetting, life becomes hard. Life becomes a battle. We feel separate, alone, afraid. We think we have to do it all by ourselves. We think we have to fight for everything we get. The moment you're ready to remember the truth is the moment everything shifts. And you're ready now, or you wouldn't be hearing these words. Something in you is waking up. Something in you is saying there has to be more than this. There has to be another way to live. And you're absolutely right. There is another way. There's a way of living that's peaceful, that's joyful, that's abundant, that's connected. And it starts with one simple shift in how you see yourself. Stop seeing yourself as this small, limited, separate being. Stop identifying with your body alone. Stop thinking you're just your history, your past, your mistakes, your problems. You are so much more than that. You are infinite possibility. You are pure potential. You are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience, not a human being hoping to have a spiritual experience. When you get this, when you really get this, your whole life changes. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds nice, but my problems are real. My pain is real. My bills are real. My struggles are real. And you're right. In the world of form, those things exist. But here's what you need to understand. The world of form is created by the world of thought. Everything you see in the physical world started as a thought. This room, this device you're watching on, the clothes you're wearing, everything was a thought before it was a thing. And your life is the same way. Your life is a reflection of your dominant thoughts, your beliefs, your inner world. You want to change your life? Change your thoughts. You want to change your circumstances? Change your mind. You want to change what's happening around you? Change what's happening within you. This isn't positive thinking mumbo jumbo. This is how the universe works. This is the law. What you think about expands. What you focus on grows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. You've been creating your life all along, you just didn't know you were doing it. You were doing it unconsciously, by default, based on old programming, old beliefs, old patterns that were handed down to you. But now, you're ready to create consciously. Now you're ready to take responsibility. And I don't mean responsibility in that heavy, burdensome way. I mean responsibility. The ability to respond. The ability to choose. The ability to say, I am the creator of my experience. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I am not at the mercy of the world. I am the world. I am creating it with every thought I think, with every word I speak, with every action I take. When God knows you're ready, what happens? Things start appearing in your life. Books fall off shelves. You hear a song with exactly the message you needed. Someone says something that strikes you. You have a dream that shows you something. You feel drawn to watch something, to read something, to go somewhere. These aren't coincidences. These are divine appointments. These are the universe responding to your readiness. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You're the student. This moment is the teacher. The question is, what are you ready for? Are you ready to let go of old grievances? Are you ready to forgive everyone, including yourself? Are you ready to stop being a victim of your past? Are you ready to release the stories you've been telling yourself about why you can't have what you want, why you can't be who you want to be, why life is hard, why things never work out for you? Are you ready to let all of that go? Because here's the truth. Those stories aren't true. They never were true. They were just thoughts you kept thinking until they became beliefs. They were just programs running in your subconscious mind, creating your reality over and over again. But you're not your programs, you're not your conditioning, you're not your past, you're not even your thoughts. You're the awareness behind the thoughts. You're the consciousness that observes everything. And when you identify with that awareness, with that consciousness, with that observer, you're free. Freedom is what you're really looking for. It's what everyone is looking for. Not freedom from circumstances, but freedom within circumstances. Not freedom from problems, but freedom from being controlled by problems. Not freedom from pain, but freedom from suffering. There's a difference. Pain is physical. Suffering is mental. Pain happens to the body. Suffering happens in the mind. You can experience pain without suffering when you don't resist it, when you don't make up stories about it, when you don't identify with it. And this is where the readiness comes in. You're ready to stop resisting life. You're ready to stop fighting what is. You're ready to stop arguing with reality. Byron Katie says, "When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time." Think about that. Every time you say, this shouldn't be happening, this isn't fair, this isn't right, why me? You're arguing with what is. And when you argue with what is, you create suffering. Not because what is so terrible, but because you're resisting it. What if you stopped resisting? What if you just allowed everything to be exactly as it is? What if you said yes to life, yes to this moment, yes to what's happening right now, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not what you wanted, even if it hurts? When you stop resisting, something miraculous happens. The suffering ends. You might still have the problem, you might still have the challenge, you might still have the pain, but the suffering ends because you're not fighting anymore. You're flowing. You're allowing. You're trusting. Trust is a big part of readiness. You're ready when you're willing to trust. Trust that life is for you, not against you. Trust that everything is happening in your favor, even when it doesn't look like it. Trust that there's a bigger plan, a higher purpose, a divine order to everything. Trust that you're being guided, that you're being supported, that you're being loved by a force greater than you can comprehend. But trust isn't blind faith. Trust comes from knowing. And you know by looking at your life, by looking at nature, by looking at how things work. Has your heart ever forgotten to beat? Have your lungs ever forgotten to breathe? Does the sun ever forget to rise? Do the seasons ever forget to change? There's an intelligence running this whole show, and it's the same intelligence that's running you. So why would you think you have to figure everything out? Why would you think you have to control everything? Why would you think you have to make everything happen by force? You don't. You just have to align with the flow. You just have to get your ego out of the way. You just have to stop trying to be God and let God be God through you. Your job isn't to make things happen. Your job is to be available, to be open, to be willing. Your job is to say, use me. Flow through me. Let me be an instrument of your peace, your love, your light. When you live like that, when you live from that place of surrender, life becomes effortless. Things start happening that you couldn't have made happen. Doors start opening that you didn't even knock on. People start showing up with exactly what you need. Opportunities start appearing out of nowhere. This is what happens when God knows you're ready. The universe conspires in your favor. All of creation starts working together to support you, to guide you, to help you fulfill your purpose. Because you have a purpose. Everyone does. You didn't come here by accident. You didn't just randomly appear on this planet. You're here on assignment. You have something to give. You have something to contribute. You have a unique expression of divinity that only you can bring forth. But most people never fulfill their purpose because they're too busy living someone else's life. They're too busy trying to meet other people's expectations, trying to please their parents, trying to impress their friends, trying to keep up with society's standards. They're living from the outside in instead of from the inside out. They're letting the world tell them who they should be instead of listening to the voice within that knows who they really are. You're ready when you're willing to be yourself. Your authentic self. Not the self you think you should be. Not the self other people want you to be, not the self you've been pretending to be, but the real you, the you that exists when nobody's watching. The you that knows what you truly love, what truly lights you up, what truly matters to you. That's the you the world needs. That's the you that has something to offer. That's the you that makes a difference. Stop apologizing for who you are. Stop trying to fit in. Stop dimming your light so other people feel comfortable. Stop playing small because you're afraid of being judged, criticized, rejected. Who cares what other people think? Who cares if they understand you? Who cares if they approve? You're not here to get approval. You're here to give your gift. And your gift can't be given if you're hiding it, if you're holding back, if you're waiting for permission. You don't need permission. You need commitment. You need to commit to being who you came here to be, no matter what. You need to commit to following your inner guidance, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You need to commit to trusting yourself, to believing in yourself, to honoring yourself. Because when you honor yourself, you honor God. When you trust yourself, you trust God. When you love yourself, you love God. You and God are not separate. What you do to yourself, you do to God. What you withhold from yourself, you withhold from God. So many people are waiting to feel worthy before they claim they're good. They're waiting to feel deserving before they accept abundance. They're waiting to feel ready before they take action. But here's the secret. You don't wait until you feel worthy to claim you're good. You claim you're good and then you feel worthy. You don't wait until you feel deserving to accept abundance. You accept abundance and then you feel deserving. You don't wait until you feel ready to take action. You take action and then you feel ready. Readiness isn't a feeling. Readiness is a decision. It's a choice. It's a commitment. You decide you're ready and then you are. You choose to be ready and the universe responds. You commit to being ready and everything shifts. Stop waiting for some magical moment when you'll finally feel ready. That moment is now. It's always now. There's no other time. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened. All you have is this moment. And in this moment you can choose to be ready. Now, ready for what? Ready for everything. Ready for love, ready for abundance, ready for success, ready for joy, ready for peace, ready for miracles, ready for your highest good, ready for your greatest expression, ready for your true life. Not the life you've been settling for, not the life you've been enduring, but the life you've been enduring. But the life that's been waiting for you to claim it. The life that's possible when you step into who you really are. And who are you really? You're love. That's it. It's all you are. Everything else is just costume, just persona, just roles you play. Beneath all of that, you're pure love. You're pure consciousness. You're pure spirit. And when you live from that place, when you identify with that truth, everything you do becomes an expression of love. Every word you speak becomes a blessing. Every action you take becomes a gift. Every person you meet becomes an opportunity to extend love. This is what it means to be awake. This is what it means to be conscious. This is what it means to be enlightened. Not some far-off state that only special people achieve, but a simple recognition of what's always been true. You are love. You are light. You are infinite. You are eternal. You are whole. You are complete. You are perfect, exactly as you are. Not when you fix yourself. Not when you improve yourself. Not when you change yourself. But right now, in this moment, as you are. The irony is, when you accept yourself completely as you are, that's when change happens. When you love yourself unconditionally, that's when transformation occurs. When you stop trying to be different, that's when you become who you were meant to be. It's the resistance that keeps you stuck. It's the judgment that keeps you small. It's the criticism that keeps you limited. When you drop all of that, when you just relax into being, everything opens up. You've been trying so hard. You've been pushing so much. You've been forcing and struggling and striving. And I'm here to tell you, you can stop now. You can relax. You can let go. You can trust. You can allow. You can receive. Because God knows you're ready. The universe knows you're ready. The only one who doesn't know you're ready is you. And even that's changing right now. As you hear these words, as something inside you recognizes the truth of what's being said, you feel it, don't you? That stirring in your soul. that knowing in your heart, that yes rising up from within. That's not me convincing you of something. That's you remembering something. That's your true self, your higher self, your God self saying, yes, this is true. I am ready. I've always been ready. I just forgot for a while. And that's okay. Forgetting is part of the human experience. We all forget. We all get lost. We all get caught up in the illusion of separation. But then we remember. And the remembering is what this is all about. Every spiritual teaching, every wisdom tradition, every enlightened master throughout history has been pointing to the same truth. You are one with God. You are one with all that is. You are one with the source of all creation. There is no separation except in your mind. And when your mind lets go of the belief in separation, you experience union. You experience oneness. You experience love. Pure, unconditional, infinite love. Not love for something or someone, just love. Love is your natural state. Love is what you are. Living from this place changes everything. Your relationships change because you stop needing people to complete you. You stop needing people to make you happy. You stop needing people to validate you. You're already complete. You're already happy. You're already valid. So you're free to love people without needing anything from them. You're free to give without expecting anything in return. You're free to be present without agenda, and this is what people are starving for. Not your advice, not your fixing, not your saving, but your presence. Your authentic, loving, accepting presence. Your work changes because you stop doing it for money or recognition or security. You start doing it as an expression of who you are. You start doing it as a contribution. You start doing it as play. And when you work from that place, success becomes inevitable. Not because you're trying to be successful, but because you're aligned with your purpose. You're doing what you love. You're giving your gift. And the universe always supports that. Always. Without exception. Your health changes because you stop being at war with your body. You stop seeing it as the enemy. You stop trying to control it with force. You start listening to it. You start honoring it. You start treating it as the sacred temple it is. And your body responds. Your body heals. Your body thrives. Because your body wants to be healthy. That's its natural state. It only gets sick when you're out of alignment, when you're stressed, when you're resisting life, when you're living from fear instead of love. Your abundance changes because you stop seeing scarcity. You stop believing in lack. You stop thinking you have to compete for limited resources. You start seeing that we live in an abundant universe. There's more than enough for everyone. There's infinite supply. There's unlimited potential. And when you tap into that, when you open yourself to that, when you expect that, it flows to you easily, naturally, joyfully. But you have to be willing to receive. So many people are great at giving but terrible at receiving. They think it's spiritual to sacrifice, to struggle, to deny themselves. They think God wants them to suffer. Nothing could be further from the truth. God wants you to have everything. God wants you to experience joy. God wants you to live abundantly. Not because you're special, but because that's the nature of God. God is abundance, God is joy, God is love. And you're made in God's image. So abundance, joy, and love are your natural state too. The only thing blocking your good is your belief that you don't deserve it, that it's not available to you, that it's wrong to have it. These are just thoughts. And thoughts can be changed. You've been thinking limiting thoughts for so long that they feel true, but they're not true. They're just familiar. There's a difference. Something can feel true because you've believed it for a long time, but that doesn't make it true. The truth is, you are worthy. You are deserving. You are enough. Not because of anything you've done or accomplished or achieved, but because of what you are. You are a child of God. You are an expression of the divine. You are a piece of the infinite. And that makes you inherently worthy, inherently deserving, inherently enough. When you know this, when you really know this, you stop seeking, you stop searching, you stop chasing, because you realize you already have what you've been looking for. You already are what you've been trying to become. You've just been looking in the wrong place. You've been looking outside when everything you need is inside. You've been looking in the future when everything you need is available now. You've been looking to others when everything you need is within you. This is the Great Awakening. This is the shift in consciousness. This is what it means to be ready. You're ready to stop looking outside. You're ready to stop waiting for someday. You're ready to stop depending on others. You're ready to turn within, to be here now, to trust yourself. And when you do that, when you make that shift, your whole life becomes a reflection of your inner state. Peace on the inside creates peace on the outside. Love on the inside creates love on the outside. Joy on the inside creates joy on the outside. You don't have to change the world. You just have to change yourself. And when you change yourself, your world changes. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. You're seeing through different eyes. You're experiencing through a different consciousness. You're living from a different place. And from that place, everything looks different. Everything feels different. Everything is different. This is why you can have two people in the exact same situation, and one is miserable while the other is joyful. It's not the situation that determines your experience. It's your consciousness, it's your perspective, it's your inner state. And you get to choose your inner state. Nobody can make you angry, nobody can make you sad, nobody can make you afraid. You feel those feelings because of what you're thinking about what's happening, not because of what's actually happening. When you take responsibility for your feelings, you take your power back. When you stop blaming others for how you feel, you become free. When you realize that your experience is created by your thoughts, not by your circumstances, you become the master of your life instead of the victim. And this is what readiness is all about. It's about taking your power back. It's about standing in your sovereignty. It's about claiming your birthright as a creator. You are a creator. You've been creating all along. You just didn't realize it. Every thought you think is creating. Every word you speak is creating. Every action you take is creating. You're creating your life, moment by moment, thought by thought, choice by choice. The question is, are you creating consciously or unconsciously? Are you creating what you want or what you don't want? Are you creating from love or from fear? Most people are creating from fear without even knowing it. They're thinking fearful thoughts, speaking fearful words, taking fearful actions, and then they wonder why their life feels fearful. They're creating it, not because they're bad or wrong, but because they don't know any better. They haven't been taught how creation works. They haven't been taught about the power of their thoughts. They haven't been taught that they're the creator of their experience. But now you know. And once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Oh, you can try. You can go into denial. You can pretend you don't know. You can keep living the way you've been living. But there will always be that part of you that knows. That part that remembers. That part that calls you back to truth. And that calling gets louder when you're ready. That's what's happening now. The calling is getting louder. The pull is getting stronger. The invitation is getting clearer. You're being called to step up, to wake up, to show up. You're being called to live your truth, to speak your truth, to be your truth. You're being called to stop playing small, to stop hiding, to stop waiting. You're being called to shine, to rise, to soar. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it requires you to let go of everything you've known, everything you've believed, everything you've identified with. Yes, it requires you to die to who you've been so you can be reborn as who you really are. But that's what transformation is. That's what growth is. That's what evolution is. The caterpillar has to completely dissolve in the cocoon before it can become a butterfly. It doesn't just add wings to its current form. It completely transforms. And that's what's being asked of you. You're in the cocoon right now. You're in that space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's dark, it's confusing, it's uncomfortable, you don't know what's happening, you can't see where you're going. You just have to trust the process. You just have to surrender to the transformation. You just have to let go and let God. And when you do, when you fully surrender, when you completely let go, when you totally trust, something miraculous happens. You emerge, you transform, you become. Not something different than you are, but what you've always been. The butterfly was always in the caterpillar, it just hadn't been revealed yet. And your true self is always in you. It's always been in you. It just hasn't been fully revealed yet. But it's revealing itself now, layer by layer, moment by moment, breath by breath. You're becoming who you really are. This is the most exciting thing you could ever do. This is what you came here for. Not to accumulate stuff, not to achieve status, not to win approval, but to become who you really are. To express what only you can express. To give what only you can give. To be what only you can be.